what Kier has right here.
Yeah, so these are sortable. So we have 5 contests in this. In your county, in an election, you might have 120, right? I don't know, a lot. Well, you want to see how close some of them are. We'll just sort by the margin of victory. And okay, this one is less than 1/4%. So you know election night just by looking at this, you know, where you have your close races. Maybe you want to see all of the city council race on ballots. You just click on it. Let me make this a little smaller. And you can start seeing some of those, and you can scroll through them, and you can have it do it automatically, so it will scroll through, and you can see whatever you want to look for, really. Again, needles to the top of the haystack. I have to admit, I have to update my Flash player on this machine, but these buttons here will allow you to export any of the screens you see like this into CSV files and things like that right from this screen. This is a small one, but maybe you want to do it with a statement of votes cast. Maybe you want to see where most of your overvotes are. You can sort that way. Any screens like this, you have the ability to tailor. Maybe you don't really care about the undervotes here, so we'll take them off the view. Maybe you want to add the undervotes as well as ballots with votes for others. You can change your view. And this principle applies to any screen that you see like this. And that's going to be in Clear Design as well. So we try to give you some flexibility for viewing that way.
Since we're on the tabulation side, can we go to show something? Do the write-ins before?
Yeah, it'll take me just a second to set it up. So is there something you want to go
Talk through the methodology, the product development of the writings.
Of the write-ins, sir? So what Kier's about to show you, just while he pulls it up, is another example of a customer-driven feature that we've added to our system. So Multnomah County, the city of Portland, was our first voting system client. They had to, I know write-ins are a bear for everybody, right? And I'm sure they're a pain for you. But they have precinct committee person elections in Portland that are generally vote for up to 10, and they're almost always all write-ins. So that's a 400,000 registered voter jurisdiction. It would take 10 times of two full weeks of 8-hour days to tabulate those contests for precinct committee person contests. And we built this piece of the software for them. It ended up, in the end, and you'll see why, it ended up saving them about 98% in write-in processing time.
And it's been an evolution. So our initial product, you can see write-ins just as you can see the other roles. You just can't count them in there, right? You just see them. So then, as he said, we built this process, and it was good, but it had its limitations. It had its but for the elections that they needed it for, it was life-changing compared to what they had. And now in the Creator Lake release, again, that will come out with this December or January, it'll really integrate into the system. It'll get a lot of their feedback back. So you don't get everything, you can't promise everything in that first release out, but it's just this teamwork to get it to how they want it, how we want it, how it works for everybody.
Yeah. And the point is, like, we have enough in our system, more than enough, for you guys to run solid, good elections tomorrow. It's taking the system and tailoring it to your processes and helping you improve things, right, with your new system, above and beyond it. So
Can I ask
that's
a
really
question
cool. Yeah.
that I thought of all by myself? If it's
Quit laughing, Jason.
I know this is your question.
well, okay. I think if
Put
it's
on it, it's good.
during the unofficial, let's say we're in the official canvas now, so you don't I'm going back to re-uploading stage. I'm sorry, like I have to clear it up. So you don't upload anything again, it's just already there because it's already there, or after the unofficial you clear it out, and like how do you go from the unofficial to the official, I guess is what I'm trying. Brian, ask that better.
Currently right now, for the unofficial is your unofficial results. To start the official, first you put in everything that was not counted in the official, so your provisionals, your late absentees, any curbsides you might have had that you had to, and then once all those are in, you have to re-upload the media is what the directive says. So for us right now, that's putting all the sticks back into the system with an election day absentee, and then that's our final official results.
Right.
If they're already in, would we have to rescan everything? Or is
You
there
get to
some
hard
way
now.
to take the media, like, just transfer the stuff from the unofficial, everything we scan in the unofficial, so everything that came in up to election day, all your absentees that came in, would there be a way to?
You can add to that, so you can have a backup of your unofficial that can remain static, right? And then you can import that to create a kind of a new election. I mean, it's not new, but it's a starting off point for you to add your provisional target card ballots and count all of your provisionals. Or any others that you need, your later writing absentees.
Yeah, the way the EOM and directive is now, it says you have to add everything that you didn't count in the unofficial first, and then re-add in what you did in the official, so creating the database first and adding to it
Okay.
is kind of reverse. And I don't know, with the new Secretary of State and stuff like that, but.
Actually, I think I'm pretty sure ORC part of that.
Yeah,
is
so like it's,
a little more than that.
we didn't probably need clarification or work with you guys on how we could.
Yeah, and we probably need to get with the state on how to handle, I mean, we're a certified system, right?
Right.
But they probably haven't quite figured out how to fit.
And for most,
You know?
a lot of counties are small, and they don't get the media attention and stuff we do, so if we don't
Sure.
follow the exact, there's people waiting to pounce on us to do that, whereas, some of the other counties, they don't get it.
Every time we enter a new state, the state relationship is almost just as important,
Mhm.
right? And I'll say, as I've talked about, in many of the states, we have some of the largest counties, and that is gonna drive the state to take hold, to help out, to talk through how the processes might need to change, might need to be impacted, or improved.
Yeah, so I'll speak generally to that as well, and kind of away from the specific application of what you guys were just talking about, but as we brought on clients to the ClearBallot family in the state, our plan all along has been to get that initial round of clients, kind of the ClearBallot family together, and then push the state and push the envelope forward in getting use out of the system and what it is capable of, right? So that has been part of the plan all along. We've really set ourselves up to be able to do so.
But I think you're right.
Talk
Yeah,
a
you
little
need
bit more
clarity
about
from the
that.
state.
Yeah.
We're
Are
doing
you
it.
implementing in May? I'm just,
We're implementing now for.
Yep.
Okay, so-
It's just 10.
Because the director of
I
the
mean, it might come up when they read the directive that day, and it might be a little bit too late to.
Because, the directors of ORC, they're so far behind the technology, like they're still catching up to everything, so like they might have thought that they're just trying to get to what's currently used, not thinking of what is coming now.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing that's why we have team members in the state, right? Whether it's here, Adam, or, other team members we have in the state, who will sit down, right? Our
Yeah.
certification team, right, was here last week. It's actually, I think, a great topic to bring up, sit down.
Did I miss how the precinct sticks did somewhere, or no? Did we skip that?
No, well, we haven't got
We
to the
haven't gotten to
programming
Just
yet.
making sure I was
We stuck to
talking.
the tabulation side just because of the flow of things. We usually do programming first and kind of take you end to end from beginning, setup, all the way through to how you close your election. It's just kind of not worked out that way today. But we will get to that next. We want to show you the write-in tool very quickly just to wrap up the tabulation side. And then we'll hop into programming.
Yeah, so I just have another election that I had built and had been demonstrating for a while, and I've got our writing tool pointed towards that now. So obviously, we made the point that we don't just look in the oval. We are able to really scissor out the whole candidate area, which allows us to display the writings as you see them here. So if I open up our little window here, we automatically have an unassigned bucket. So if you want to, you can start throwing in your none of the aboves or your Mickey Mouses into that bucket immediately. I just selected 3 of them there. And notice, and I hope you can see this okay, you may not be able to see it all in the back, but I'll talk through it. Here's the 3 that we have dumped in that bucket. I can actually click on that 3 and look at them and do a final proof, make sure I didn't make any mistakes. Then if I go back to my not yet reviewed, those are out of my way. I don't have them cluttering up my view anymore. And maybe Woody Hayes is our registered write-in this particular case. So we can add Woody, and I can go ahead and click his box if I want to, and I can start throwing votes in his bucket, if you will. So I'll just start selecting those good votes for Woody Hayes. Much like the unassigned I started with, anytime I want, I can just click on those, and I've got 9 so far. I can proof those and make sure we're okay, and then go back. And just keep doing that. Or maybe there's more than one registered write-in. You can add as many candidates as you need to. And essentially, we're just creating vote buckets. The other thing we do, and I gotta be honest with you, I can't even remember in Ohio how these are supposed to be processed, but we will also show you where there was pixelation and writing on the write-in line, but ovals were not filled in. So you can choose to process those however you need to. And maybe you want to create a separate bucket that says ovals not filled in and dump all of them in there. However you can legally process those, you can do it, but we will add that discriminant there, filtering the ones that don't have the oval filled in. So you can process them however you're allowed to do so. The other thing I like to point out on this, sometimes there might be a need to see more of the race box than what we're showing you here. If I right click, you'll see more of the race box. Maybe you want to see just a little bit more of the ballot for some reason. You can set your view however you want. And once you get that set, now every time you right click, you'll see that same view. See the same view. And again, if you decide you want to change that view, you can always do that. And then you'll see that view from then on. And then ultimately you're provided with, and I don't have an Excel license on this machine. Let me see if